Back, it's pretty much the same process as the passenger side, except I'm gonna start from the beginning. So first, you want to remove your cotter pin. And sometimes this might be in there pretty tight. And then you're gonna want to take your castle nut off. I already pre-loosened it, so I can just go ahead and hit this with my hands really quick. I don't know if you guys can see that. All right, after this castle nut comes off, you're gonna want to break loose the locking nut. I already broke it loose and sprayed it down with some lube, penetrating spray. All right. And after you crack it loose, you don't have to like put it all the way back on the last thread. You just leave it how it is, because you're gonna need to soak the end of the outer tie rod in and let it sit for about 10 minutes. And be generous with this stuff, man, because it is a pain to get off. All right, I'll let it sit for about 10 minutes and I'll get back with you guys. All right, we're back, and the next step is you're gonna wanna take some sort of hammer, mallet, whatever you got, and you're gonna wanna hit right at the top of the outer tie rod end where the bolt goes through. You'll see it right here, but give it a couple good whacks, man. This could take a cool minute. I had to work it on the other side, like smack it up, smack it down to get it to actually come out. So there's not much room in here, so man. I'll end up getting back with you guys when I end up getting this thing off. As you can see, I ended up getting it broke loose, and I ended up switching from a rubber mallet to just a regular hammer and just being really careful of where I was striking it, but ended up coming loose. And now we should be able to thread this off and clean up the inner tie rod threads. And this thing could be kind of tight, so you're gonna want to end up grabbing like a wrench. In my case, it's gonna be a crescent. You're gonna want to end up holding the end of the inner tie rod end while twisting off the outer tie rod end. And I'll show you guys what that looks like right now. Because it's gonna want to turn with you, and you don't want it to. Like I said, these are the original outer tie rod ends, and I'll show you when this one comes off. And that wind fucked this up. It's just getting reckless out here. But I about got it all the way off. As you can tell, I'm gonna try to set you guys up in here. Oh, shit, come on now. All right. gonna have to be it for now, guys. Like I said, wrench here at the end of the inner tie rod end, and then you can twist off the outer. All right, for sure, thank you. See, and then it should come right off. And I think it should be stamped, yep, here. I don't know if you guys can see that, Hyundai Kia. So I want to say this is the original part. And man, it would make sense because this thing is beat to shit. So same process on this side, guys. I'm gonna end up cleaning the threads off and then pre-lubing everything. And like I said, I already marked how many threads I was on. So on the passenger side, it was 8. On this side, I matched it with 8, so my alignment wouldn't be too far off. It should be fine. Oh shit, somebody's shitbox truck. And I'm sorry about the angle, guys. Bear with me here. But you want to get these threads as clean as humanly possible before you end up getting the new part back on. Because last thing you want is a bunch of fucking rust up here. Alright, that should be alright. Go grab a rag real quick. All right, now that that's cleaned up, I'm gonna end up taking the new part out the bag. Got some dope fiends going down the alley. Here goes the new part, guys. Like I said, just something from, I want to say the company's called Torque Motorsports, something like that. Here goes a bag, I don't know, some cheap shit though, guys. And like I said, you're gonna want to pre-lube these threads as best you can, just to avoid any rust. And then I like to lubricate these threads as well for the same reason. Go ahead and hit that backside. And I'm gonna let that sit for about 5 minutes and I'll get back with you guys as I'm putting the outer tie rod back in. All right, it's been sitting for like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. And I'm gonna end up getting this new stuff back on, man. It feels good to actually get the part off. I would say 3-4 weeks ago when I did change those sway bar end links, I tried to change these outer tie rod ends, but they were rusted on there, man. But there goes the old stuff. Here's a new piece. I'm gonna set you guys down. Try to get a good angle for you. That should be it right there. This new castle nut off. And you're gonna want to start threading it on there. And like I said on the last side, make sure you don't cross thread this stuff, and make sure you pre-lubricate it, because if you ever have to do this again, you don't want it to be stuck on there. There we go. And And yeah, I already know my next job would probably be the axles, because the boots on the end are ripped, and if this doesn't end up fixing the rest of my front end noise, that'll be my next job, if they're not too hard. Alright, we're about there. What I'm gonna want to do is get in the car and I'm gonna turn my wheel slightly to get that whole to line up easier. I mean, you don't have to do this, but I prefer doing it so I don't have to smack that thing in there. And that should have been enough for me to end up slightly more. All right, that's probably it right there. Too far, too far. I'll get back with you guys. Like I said, you just want to turn the key over a little bit so you can move it around and kind of angle this thing in the right spot. And once you got it here, I'm gonna grab my castle nut and just thread it on the top of this before I end up tightening my locking nut back there, just so it doesn't move nowhere. And just finger tight will be all right on the castle nut for now. So I'm gonna grab another crescent wrench and kind of hold on the outer tie rod end right here on this box piece as I tighten down the locking nut. And that serves a purpose because you don't want your inner tie rod end to be spinning freely in there. And you're gonna wanna make sure that locking nut is actually very tight. So I'm gonna try to get down here. Here, I'm gonna reposition you guys over here. Or actually, back here. That should be good. Like I said, you're gonna want to hold one here. And one here. And that should be good right there, guys. Nice and tight. Now you could start. Move you guys. Now you could start locking your castle nut down and then get your cotter pin through. And I'm gonna set you guys about right. All right, there. And this is the part you got box wrenches, like I said, it'll come in handy here. I don't know what you guys are seeing right now, but right now I'm tightening the castle nut down. And I would try to get like a shallow socket in here, but man, I tried and the ratchet that I was using, well, the socket fit fine, but the ratchet wouldn't attach to it because there wasn't enough room. And I want to say this process will be the same for the 2012 Hyundai Veloster all the way to about 2019, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to look into that. If not, the process will be similar, man. Now that's tight. I'm gonna bring you guys up so you guys can see that. All right, now the castle nut is nice and tight. I'm gonna line my cotter pin up and then bend it through there. There goes the new John right there. Let me see if I can do this one hand. right, now you're gonna want to bend that thing, man. Really useful tool will be some like needle noses if you got them. One-handed, man. So I'm gonna get this cotter pin on and I'll get back to you guys. Cotter pin on. Everything's tight. Locking nuts tight. Castle nut tight. Cotter pin on. I'm gonna end up cleaning my brake calipers really quick. Just while I'm down here and probably popping off the fender liner like I did. Here, let me show you guys. Cause man, I don't know if I'm the first one to do it, but I popped off the fender liner and there was a shit ton of mud, dirt, man, everywhere. So I'm gonna take my time and end up cleaning it up, but that's changing the outer tie rod ends on a 2012 Hyundai Veloster. This is actually the NA version. 6-speed manual. I did my own little stuff to it, man. I'll end up getting you guys the engine bay shot. I have a few mods to it. I'm running a Megan catback exhaust. I want to say a short ram engine, cold air intake, and KDM tuners, throttle body, space. Like I said, it's a 6-speed NA with 152,000. It has Megan Racing catback. I'm gonna try to get you guys down here. There's my short ram engine intake, and then I got my KDM tuners throttle body spacer. And then actually, the original clutch on this car, when I bought it, it had went out on me. So I put a stage 2 clutch in it. And then, of course, the coils. There she is, guys.